We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Valentine's Day. Gotta love it. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the notification bell. Share the video. Smash the like button if you want to support this independent national college football rebel outpost channel with a donation. Help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Just hit that $sign where you make your comment and I'll get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend. To Mazda, Luke Wood, the president of Sacramento State, promised, and by God, he delivered. He said, we're going to get to the Hornets. We're going to get the Hornets into the FBS. And remember, they were denied. They couldn't come in as an independent. They needed an FBS conference invite, and they got one. How did they get one? How did they get the invite? Money. Remember, we did a live show a couple of months ago, and the live show was called Don't Ask What Your New Conference Can Do For You. Ask what you can do for your new conference. That is the reality. And I want you to think about that I want you to continue to think about that anytime, every time we walk in to the Holy Smokes Theater. Every time we walk into the Holy Smokes Theater, think about it. It's happening. Look, SMU, they bought their way into the ACC. California and Stanford taking 30 cents on the dollar. Oregon and Washington taking 50 cents on the dollar. You've got, I mean, Sacramento State, they're spending millions and millions and millions of dollars to get to higher ground. FCS to the FBS. You think, again, I see it, I saw it today. People are grabbing on desperately to how things were. They're not grasping how things are and gonna be. This is why we have the national YouTube channel, College Football's Peek Around the Corner. We're looking into the future. You think if a team, when the Southeastern Conference expands, whoever's going to the Southeastern Conference, you might not get the full freight like historically you do when you go to the Southeastern Conference. You might have to pay some upfront cash. You might have to commit to a certain level of financing. You might have to do something special to get to the Southeastern Conference, and especially into the Big Ten. You're coming in as a full freight. That's not, look, that's just isn't happening nowadays. I would be shocked unless you're Notre Dame. But besides that, it's a buyer's market. For conferences that are looking to expand, and you've got candidates, basically you've got all the leverage. What can you do for us? Not what we can do for you, in which you can do for us. And again, look, this is we've got Northern Illinois going to the Mountain West Conference. Football only edition. We've got North Dakota State moving from FCS to the Mountain West Conference as a football only edition. Now we've got Sacramento State moving from FCS out in California, joining the Mid-American Conference, the Akron, the Bowling Green, the Western Michigan, the Miami of Ohio. They want to be called Miami, all right. Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, Chippewas, Buffalo. The MAC Conference, the Mid-American Conference, now goes coast to coast, basically. And Sacramento State is going to be paying a whole lot of money to get it done. So, again, this is like, I don't know what analogy. We're going to get to the aliens in a second. We're going to get to the aliens in a second, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to put a little bit of spice in this Valentine's night. Aliens are real. Aliens are real. Have any of you guys heard what has come out tonight? All right, maybe you haven't. Maybe you haven't. This is 99% College Football Channel, 1%. Well, there's something out there, isn't it? Isn't it? All right, we'll get to that in a second. But this is like, You know how you... Nah, I better not go down that road. I'm trying to think of an analogy here. Okay, all right, okay. I got it. You know how I've never done this and I would never do it, but you know, you put a frog in warm water and then you turn up the heat. You turn it up a little bit and a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, and it gets warmer, starts to bubble, and the frog doesn't even notice until the frog is basically dead. Something like that. Something like that. Well, that's what this realignment wave is all about. It's percolating. It's steaming. People know that not everything is done. Not everything has been decided. Realignment never sleeps. You've got schools still trying to climb over the wall to get to the FBS. You've got schools trying to climb over the wall to get to the Power Four. Memphis, for example, willing to spend a couple of $100 million. You've got schools willing to climb over the wall to get to the Power Two. And I'm going to wait till tomorrow on this. I'll give you a little bit of a tease. There's a very good chance, I would say about a 95% chance, there is a growing it seems to be more traction about adding a school west of the Mississippi for the Big Ten in their next realignment wave, which again doesn't really make a whole lot of logical sense to me personally. We've known that the Big Ten has wanted to get into the South. I believe the Big Ten would expand without Notre Dame and add a 19th and 20th without a Notre Dame. I don't think they're going to go past 20 without Notre Dame. But there is this growing suspicion from BTM and his associates about a certain school out west that has the attraction of the Big Ten. And we'll get more into that tomorrow in the week ahead, which is gonna get a whole lot of people excited and upset. Again, nothing is imminent. We're talking about positioning here. We're talking about positioning. We're talking about this stuff is going on right now. It is. All of this is going on, even though nothing is imminent. Rutgers had been talking to the Big Ten for years before they got the opportunity, before that door cracked just a little bit. And you know, you all know how I feel about it. There is no magic number to expansion. There is no, like, the MAC conference is at 13 schools. And somebody's going to come along and say, well, the most they can do is 14 football members. I am not a believer in the magic number theory. If economically it works, if the media partners are willing to spend money on your conference, if everybody thinks they're going to come out ahead in the years ahead, the conference will expand. Conferences might expand over 20. They might fracture, expand, fracture again. I don't think there's any magic number. I really don't believe that. For a G6 conference, for a Power 4 conference, and especially for the Power 2 conference, I'm not a believer in that. I'm not I'm not. There is so much evidence of that. People keep saying, well, if you add a new school, they don't bring enough value. That isn't how it's. A lot of that isn't not how it's calculated. People used to argue with me all the time. I'm not going to give out the names here on this live show. But I went through this for years on X, on Twitter at the time, when everybody said that conferences couldn't go past 14 members. My God, the arguments, the discussions that I had on X for years, I said 14 is not a magic number. It's not. And it wasn't. It wasn't. 16 is not a magic number. 18 is not a magic number. The larger you get, some things become more difficult. The governance of the conference, it might fracture. Yes, all that is true. But to say conferences can't go beyond a certain number, I think is completely faulty, especially in this day and age of college football. When you have unequal revenue sharing becoming more and more a part of college football. If you have unequal revenue sharing, well, you can bring in a school at less than the full freight, and that school is going to be better for it, and your conference is going to be better for it. Everybody is convinced in the Southeastern Conference. Everybody is convinced in the Big Ten. And there are people convinced in the Big 12 and the ACC that the world is full of untapped markets for college sports here in America. No, college sports is not going to match the NBA's ability to grab international markets. No, college sports is not going to be able to match the NFL in being able to get national markets. That's not going to happen. But the growth is going to be startling in the next 10 years. It's going to be big. The NBA's having USA versus the world in their All-Star game. The NBA is going to expand with Seattle and Las Vegas. The NFL is having more and more and more international football games. Why are they doing this? Because they make more money. They make more money. They make more money. The money's out there. You just got to go and work at it. You got to go and grab it. And that's what the Southeastern Conference is going to do. That's what the Big Ten is going to do. That's what the Big 12 is doing. That's what the ACC hopes to be doing. And along with all of that, they're going to need more networking. They're going to need more different advertising. They're going to need more in different sponsorships. They're going to need more in different expertise. And they're going to need more content, which means they're going to need more members. The world is not what it was last year or the year before or the year before or the year before. It is different. The MAC, the Mid-American Conference, tonight has just added Sacramento State. Sacramento State, nobody 2 years ago would have said that Northern Illinois football is going to go to the Mountain West while Sacramento State FCS team football is going to go to the MAC. Nobody. And yet it's happened. And yet it has happened. So what is going to happen in the next couple of years that none of us are saying right now? None of us are saying. Something is going to happen. Something might happen next month or before June 1st. June 1st of 2026 or before June 1st of 2027. All right, let me do the roll call here. I appreciate everybody coming on in. It's a special emergency show. Valentine's Night Massacre. The MAC has expanded Let's get into it. Karan Shakar is in the house. BMD is in the house. AMAC, John Grove is here. The Fighting Illini is in the house. The Architect, AMAC, Big Ten Fan 81, DTs. The Big Gun Shop. Not so much we'll get to it in a little bit here. Don Scruggs is in the house. Adam Vulture is here. Tough Tony. I have not heard anything about South Dakota State and Conference USA. I read something about it. Somebody speculated on it. I have not heard a word about South Dakota State. Not a word. If I do, I will talk about it. Lee 65. Obama says they are real. We're gonna get that. In a little bit. There has been articles written recently about the current president possibly having a little miniature disclosure, basically saying what Obama said tonight, that they are real. But we haven't seen them. The presidents haven't seen them. But we'll get to it. We will get to it in a moment. John Grove is here. Son of Sarek. BUSAF 95 is in the house. MGC Sooner. Bimba 7579 is in the house. Thanks for coming on in. Stormy Cyclone. Pete Thamel. Yep, we're going to go through the article in just a moment. Caleb Ramirez. Stephen Clark is in the house. Thanks for coming on in. I appreciate it. Troy is back in. Appreciate it. The other guy, Gax, is in the house. I don't get it. Is it worth flying from Sacramento to Michigan, Ohio? I'm doubtful. Bob Swanger is here. Mayor McCheese, the Art Bell of college football. Jay Bunch, old dad, is in the house. Nick Kelso is here. CFB Plus is here. And we've got Caleb Ramirez. If the Big Ten went west again, would they still go to the south for the next expansion too? I think they would. I think so. That's what their goal has been for a long time. There is a little bit of there's a school out west that has got a lot of I would say it has a good faction of support in the Big Ten. Is that going to carry them through? Are they going to be 19 or 20? I don't know. But there is a school out west that has a faction of support. Don't know if that's going to be big enough, but we'll talk about it either tomorrow or Monday, depending on what goes on in college football. Christopher Hooter is in the house. Marie Derrick is here. Thanks everybody for coming on in. I appreciate it. Caleb Ramirez, thank you for becoming a member. 26 months. Holy smokes. You are Caleb Ramirez. Mr. Buckeye, you are officially knighted. Cloak and Dagger, thank you so much for your generosity, Caleb Ramirez, and your friendship. I very much appreciate it. Okay. Again, you know how it works. Super chat, supersede the comments, phone calls, supersede the comments. We're going to open up the phone lines here in a little bit, but let's get to Pete Thamel's article, my goodness. My goodness. Sources. MAC to add Sacramento. Sacramento State as football only member. A live emergency live show on Valentine's night. Pete Thamel, the MAC presidents, ESPN, have voted to formally add FCS Sacramento State into the league as a football-only member started in 2026. Again, no delay. No delay. North Dakota State going to be in the Mountain West Conference 2026. No delays on these moves. The cost of entrance is expected to be $18 million per sources. And a deal is expected to be announced in the upcoming days. All in, the total cost of entry is expected to be $23 million, as Sacramento State would also need to pay an additional $5 million to the NCAA to move up. $18 million. $5 million going to the NCAA. That's the cost of entry. That's the cost from going to FCS to FBS. The $18 million, all that's going to the MAC? Holy smokes. That is a lot of money for the MAC. If that's true, that's a whole lot of money for the MAC. You know, when a Big Ten team plays a MAC school, the Big Ten team pays them $1 million. And that goes a long ways for paying the bills during the year for the athletic department. This is like everybody getting $1.5 million or $1.3 million in the MAC conference. And the MAC conference, I'm sure, is going to get their own slice. Back to the article. This marks a significant move for Sacramento State, as it will be the first West Coast football program to make this jump to the highest level of football in well over a generation. I think Fresno State moved up in the late 1960s. Is that correct? Or the late 1970s? One of those two. Fresno State. Sacramento State has been aggressive in the pursuit of this level, with President Luke Woods saying this summer, "We believe our university, our students, and the entire Sacramento region deserves major college football." The move will keep the MAC at 13 schools. It would replace Northern Illinois, which is leaving for the Mountain West in football next year. It also marks a trend of schools paying money to move up in leagues. SMU paved the way as it chose to forego 9 years of television revenue to join the ACC. Cal and Stanford also accepted reduced money to join the ACC. Sacramento State move is the second in the last week, as North Dakota State finalized a move to the Mountain West. That move costs $12.5 million. In a smaller scale, Northern Illinois paid a $2 million entrance fee to join the Mountain West. The payout to leagues, such as the MAC and the Mountain West, come at a time when revenue is scarce, as smaller leagues are struggling to retain top talent in football and men's basketball since the waiving of transfer rules and the ability of schools to pay players through NIL and revenue share. Sacramento State's recent history in the FCS includes wins in the FCS playoffs in both 22 and 2023. The school will have its fourth coach since 2022 this year, as it hired Arizona assistant Alonzo Carter. Sacramento State has been aggressive in its pursuit, as the NCAA denied a waiver last year to let Sacramento State play as an independent, as we mentioned earlier in this evening's live emergency show. In need of a conference invitation, the school has found one for the 2026 season. Sacramento State would not be eligible for the postseason for 2 years as it transitions. Now, we know, we've heard in public reports that North Dakota State is battling the system. They're going to the governance. They're pounding the table. The Bison don't want to wait 2 years. They want to be able to go to a bowl game for 2026. They want to be eligible to make the playoffs in 2026. If North Dakota State is fighting this battle, I'm going to assume we're all going to read public reports that Sacramento State is going to join North Dakota State. I mean, my goodness. Sacramento State is spending $23 million to get to the MAC. Of course they're going to fight the battle. I don't know if they're going to win the battle, but of course they're going to fight the battle to try to get into the MAC. And not they're in the MAC, but to try to be eligible for bowl and for playoffs. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Wood and athletic director Mark Orr have been looking to leverage the area's top 20 television market. The school hired Mike Bibby as the men's basketball coach and has been aggressive in pursuing high-profile names. Sacramento State's non-football sports would be housed in the Big West, which it joins in 26-27. Okay, so there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Again, Sacramento State. Now, we know that the MAC is going in to negotiations, media negotiations for a new TV deal. They're doing it this year in 2026. Grabbing Sacramento State in a large TV market might help the conference a little bit. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see the Central Michigan Chippewas go on the road to play the Sacramento State Hornets at Sacramento State and see if what type of ratings they pop out there. You know, what type of time slot are they going to get? MAC games are now going to be playing out in the West Coast. Right? About how many? 4 to 5 MAC home games at Sacramento State. Be interesting what type of time slot that gets. What type of exposure. Interesting times ahead. And again, we've got a lot of G6 movement, right? The new Pac-12. The new Mountain West Conference. The Mountain West Conference, they had North Dakota State. The MAC adds Sacramento State. Now, is the MAC going to stay at 13? Who would be the 14th member? Is it too high a price for anybody else to come in at? Now, Sacramento State had to pay a premium, right? They had to pay a premium. But still, North Dakota State had to pay a lot of money to get to the Mountain West Conference. I tell you, man, if, for example, if Western Kentucky now wanted to join the MAC, how much would they have to spend? A couple of million? a little bit more. I mean, they're going from the Conference USA. I mean, I don't know. And then, of course, we're talking about the Holy Smokes Theater. And let's take an example. Let's say that we're just talking here. We're just opining. Let's say the Southeastern Conference does go in its silo in 2027, in 2028, or they make the announcement that they're going to go silo in a couple of years, however they do it. And we're not saying they're going to do it. We have never reported that. We think they're at the start of the mountain, and they're starting to climb up Silo Mountain. When you've got the president, University of Georgia president, talking about it in public 2 different times, that means they're actually talking about it in the Southeastern Conference. Let's say the Southeastern Conference does that, and they expand. They do the big scoop. Or the Southeastern Conference does not do the silo action, and they still do the big scoop. Let's say they add a North Carolina, a Virginia, a Florida State, and Clemson. Let's say it's those 4 schools. Do you think all 4 schools are going to come in at full freight in the Southeastern Conference? And this time, we're not talking 2 years ago. We're not talking 4 years ago. We're not talking 5 years ago. I mean, Texas and Oklahoma had it taken in the shorts this year. They did not get a full freight. We know Oregon and Washington are not getting a full freight for 4 or 5 more years. I'm giving everybody a warning here. I know that the Southeastern Conference has been giving schools pro rata. But do you think if the Southeastern Conference goes from 16 to 20, do you think everyone's going to get a full freight? I don't think so. Maybe they will. But guys, we are all riding on. We're all taking a cruise. We're on the Fat Guy of Minnesota cruise ship. Okay? On the side of the ship is my big, fat, ugly face. On one side. On the other side of the ship, there's a symbol that says no cheeseburger. There's a cheeseburger with a red circle around it and a red cross down the middle. That's the Fat Guy from Minnesota cruise ship. Go Black 45 is on that ship. The Big Lubbock is on that ship. The other Gygax is on that ship. Karan Shakar is on that ship. We're all taking a cruise. And we see an iceberg. And we're heading right toward the iceberg. And on top of the iceberg, the tip that we can see, the part that we can see, we're seeing that Sacramento State is spending a whole lot of money to get the higher ground. North Dakota State is spending a whole lot of money to get the higher ground. Northern Illinois did a little bit to get the higher ground. SMU did a whole lot to get the higher ground. California and Stanford did it. They had to do it just to stay on the iceberg to get the little bit the higher ground. That is what we see at the top of the iceberg. What is going below the iceberg? The positioning, the cutthroat, the cloak and dagger. It doesn't. Again, I've been warning everybody, I don't believe anything is imminent. If it is, I'm wrong. I'll take the big L. I still don't believe anything is imminent when it comes to Power 2, when it comes to the Holy Smokes Theater. I still don't believe it. I could be wrong. If I had anything, if I had the hot bubble of action, I would give it to you. I would report it to you. I'm still here. The chatter is still positioning. But it's going to be cutthroat. Schools are going to be overpromised. Schools are going to be promising their firstborn son to Greg Sankey. Schools are going to be promising to they're going to be promising Tony Petitti everything. You don't have all this stuff happening in this way, and it doesn't also happen on higher ground. What's happening below the surface, what's happening in the G6, what happened with SMU, that is going to also reflect, that is also going to happen at the highest levels. And when it comes to realignment. So, anyway, we'll get off of that in a second here. We're going to open up the phone lines. Let me know what you think about the move from a MAC perspective, from the MAC institutions' perspectives, and from, of course, Sacramento State. Is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be worth it for the Hornets? We're going to find out. It's going to be mighty interesting to see how Sacramento State competes in the first year of the MAC conference. That is going to be really interesting to watch. And Northern Illinois in the Mountain West Conference and North Dakota State. Now, hopefully soon we get that MAC football schedule. We still have not seen the 2026 MAC football schedule, the conference schedule. We'll probably see it pretty soon because I have not heard any steam on the MAC trying to get a 14th member for 2026. The other Gygax. So how big of a check will West Virginia have to cut to get in the Big Ten and the SEC? I'm good for a few hundred. And I think Daniel Gygax doesn't mean a few $100s. I don't think the other Gygax means a few $100,000. I think Daniel Gygax is ready to give a few $100 million to the Southeastern Conference or the Big Ten. Just Daniel Gygax and his checkbook. That's all West Virginia needs. I don't know. Memphis offered a couple of $100 million to get to the Big 12, and that wasn't good enough for the Big 12. I don't think it's going to be I think some of it's going to be like, okay, we're not going to take full freight. If we join the Southeastern Conference, for example, let's say Clemson. Clemson might have to say, we're not going to take full freight for 5 years. We get an increase in playoff distribution money from joining the SEC from the ACC. But you know what? That increase, you guys can keep it for 5 years. And then maybe Clemson commits to something that the Southeastern Conference wants Clemson to commit to. Bigger research, some sort of better facility, or maybe Clemson has to add a women and a men's sports. Something. It doesn't have to be a complete one like a check. It can be multiple things that adds up to a whole lot of money in investment. I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong. Maybe the Southeastern Conference is still going to do it the old way of, whoever joins the conference, ESPN and the Southeastern Conference, you're going to get a full pro rata. You're going to get paid what Kentucky gets paid. You're going to get paid what Alabama gets paid year one. I don't think it's going to happen, though. And I don't think the Big Ten is going to work that way unless it's Notre Dame, which is already in the Big Ten contract. If Notre Dame joins the Big Ten, they know exactly what they're going to get. And it's supposedly going to be a little bit more than what everybody else in the Big Ten is making. And then the Big Ten schools are also going to get rose to Notre Dame's level. Everyone's going to make a little bit more. That's what was reported. But everybody else, I think, is going to come in at less. If they come in before the new media contract negotiations happen. If the Big Ten doesn't add anybody until 2030, those new schools might make as much as everybody else. But if you're coming in at half, if you're going to come in before the new media contract, you're not going to come in at full freight. That's my belief. Anyways, thank you, Daniel Gygax, for becoming a member. 24 months. That is 2 years. Mr. Mountaineer has been a member of our program. Thank you. You are officially knighted. Cloak and dagger. Cloak and dagger. Thank you so much, the other guy, Gax. Appreciate it. Appreciate your generosity, sir. I want to show you guys something here. Flint Dog. That's pretty good. I'm not going to show that. Anyways, where am I? Okay. Okay. Before we get to your phone calls, Jose, those entities here were here before us. To them, we are aliens. We're going to take just a little bit of time here. President Obama said something interesting tonight. Years ago, I don't remember the year. He was not president anymore. I don't know if this was during Trump's first administration, first term, or if it was under Biden's term. But Obama did come out and say in an interview that we have seen objects. He knows there are objects out there that defy the physics that we know. They fly in way we can pick it up on sensors, but he wouldn't go any further than that. He just said, we know we cannot explain everything that we see. Now, is it human? Is it intelligence of another kind? Or is it our sensors that go wrong? Or is it some atmospheric condition that we don't understand? Is there a ball of energy out there that is not intelligence, but it does things because of the solar winds? Exactly what is going on in space, up in our skies, in our oceans, where we are picking up things that we cannot explain. Well, Obama has talked about it in generality, saying there are things we don't understand. George H. Bush Jr., whatever you want to call him, president from 2000 to 2008, anytime he's asked about it, he says, basically, I can't talk about it, but we don't understand everything we see. Bill Clinton, his answers are basically the same. We don't understand everything that we are witness to. Trump has basically said the same thing. He's had people talk to him. He keeps talking about how they may do disclosure. Obama tonight said the following.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility, unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the president of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Where are the aliens? Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility, unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the president of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Okay. So that's
Where are the aliens? Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Okay. Here's the deal. A lot of people are going crazy over this. Clinton said the same thing. They've all said the same thing. They've all said the same thing. They're real. They're real. They're not saying. I don't believe that we're just speculating here, because unfortunately the person that was interviewing President Obama did not follow up with questions like, where do you think they are? How long have they been? Are they visiting us? No follow-up questions at all, which is horrific. But basically, Obama has said this a few times. Clinton, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, has basically said we do not have total control over our skies. We don't know what these things are. Obama said aliens are real. He did not say aliens are real because of a mathematical equation, because there's so many planets out there, there's so many stars out there, there's so many galaxies out there. Of course aliens are going to be real somewhere. That's not how Obama answers the question. Neither does Trump, neither does Bush. They're all basically saying, they're all saying it with a wink and a nod, these things are real. There's something of an intelligent life form that we do not understand. We see evidence of them as much as we could possibly see it. They're hard to picture because they're probably changing their gravity around them, possibly changing their time around the whatever they're flying, however they're moving in the ocean and the skies. But Obama said aliens are real. Trump has said the same. Bush has said the same. Clinton has said the same. So the next time we talk about UFOs, or whatever, however we talk about them, I know I'm going to get lambasted in the chat room and Greg, what are you smoking? I ain't saying, but I'm saying. They're real. They're just real. They're absolutely real. All right. If you were an alien, would you come anywhere near the mess we made of this world? Maybe they're changing a tire. Right, Patterson? Mm-hmm. I don't think they're in Area 51. I don't think they're anywhere around that. I think if we've got anything stored in this country, if cash retriever if crash retrievals are real, and I think there probably are, I think they're in some facilities across, some facilities that are quasi-government and quasi-public defense contractors. Simulations upon simulations. All right. Just wanted to have some fun there. Obama said that tonight. There have been some articles written recently that Trump has got some sort of speech already written to basically say something is real out there that we don't understand. It's not us. It's definitely not our enemies, because if they were our enemies, we'd already been taken over because the technology gap is way too huge. But I think all the presidents know that there's something out there that we cannot explain. They're coming for our cheese. God, I hope. I like cheese. I like cheese. Okay, we're going to open up the phone lines. If you want to talk about Sacramento State or anything else in college football that your heart desires, we had to do an emergency live show here. We had to do it. Sacramento State, a big accomplishment for the Hornets. They've been working towards this, and they finally got it done. 763-260-1333, 763-260-1333. Sack to the Mac. The Architect, we are not alone. Sunday show, we'll probably have to do the Sunday show. I think so. Go Black 45. The networks are not going to pay for anything until the NFL hog is fed first. That's a great comment, Go Black 45. The NFL is going to be renegotiating their contract well before the current one is going to end. The NFL has all the leverage, and that's going to soak up a lot of dollars out there. And it's going to affect some other live sport content. Maybe the media bubble is going to burst for NASCAR, for some type of soccer, maybe some levels of college football. Maybe it will have an effect on the Big Ten in a couple of years, or the Southeastern Conference in a couple of years. I don't think so, but it could. It could. The Evil Badger, thank you so much. Super chat, Evil Badger. Evil Badger, $5 holler. I stand by my 32-team playoff because getting into the FBS is like Oprah giving cars away to her audience. Thank you for the $5 holler, Evil Badger. I'm going to go ahead and keep being the captain of the army of 24. I support 24. Evil Badger supports 32. I appreciate the super chat, Evil Badger. Thank you so very much. Very much appreciate it. John Till, just realized it's Mac and not MWC Long Travels. Thank you for the super chat, John Till. Now, it's just football only. Football only. So Sacramento State is going to be taking 4 to 5 road trips a year in football. Is that too much? I don't think it is. At least when it comes to conference games, right? 4 to 5 road trips a year. To move to the FBS. Baseball is on life support. Thank you for the $2 holler, John T. Appreciate it. The Architect. Baseball is on life support. The demographics are awful. They're trying to get some sort of salary cap in baseball finally. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. I don't. The Dodgers have a over $400 million roster, which is unbelievable compared to some other teams.
Call from
Evil Badger.
Evil Badger, thanks for calling, sir. I appreciate it. The floor is yours.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it, buddy.
I just believe with they'll never be able to figure out the CFP schedule around the NFL because the NFL is trying to basically monopolize all the nights of the week because there's a rumor going around that they're going to probably have the Niners play the Rams the day before the Seahawks would play their first game the weekend of after Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL is going to make it difficult for the CFP and the commissioners to come up with a plan to get around what the NFL is doing, because the NFL wants to go to an 18th game, but the Players Association is fighting it, and I hope they keep fighting it because I don't want the NFL to go to March.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think?
What do you think?
I don't think they're going to be able to come up with a plan that's going to be able to get around what the NFL wants to do.
Why can't they move it up? Why can't they start?
Them to start the first week of August.
No, they don't need to start the first week, but start the second week. Or everybody start week 0 in the third week of August. And not have conference championship games, and I think that would solve everything. I just don't understand why they can't move to the second week of August. Move summer camp. Start
because they're going to say that the heat.
Well,
they're going to say that the heat is an issue. And
that is an issue.
I don't see any other way it could be done if they don't do that.
Yeah.
And we're always going to keep fighting about 12, 16, 24, 32. I just think, and I think it's too easy for schools to go from FCS to FBS. It's just too easy.
Well, they raised the price from $5,000 to $5 million, and you have to join a conference. I would suspect that the FBS might get together and say, okay, we're going to make it even a bigger hurdle to get up to the FBS. They're probably even going to readjust it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I had.
All right.
All right. Thanks for taking my call.
I appreciate it. Beautiful
all right, bye.
call, sir. Thank you very much. John Boxleitner, 2025 World Series is the most watched in over 30 years. But that doesn't mean that a whole lot of clubs can generate enough money to be able to compete. I mean, that still doesn't indicate that, 20 MLB teams are not even close to what the Dodgers can do and the Yankees can do. It's like you're talking about the difference between, it's a bigger difference between Western Michigan and Purdue, for God's sakes, when it comes to money. I mean, it's absolutely, most of these ball clubs can't keep any of their star players. It's a joke. Major League Base. So it doesn't matter how high the ratings are for the World Series. If the Yankees and the Dodgers have their local media contracts and it all goes to them, which I believe is fine, but if you don't have a salary cap, they blow the doors off. They have a much larger pathway to competing for the World Series. They can make a whole bunch of mistakes and still win. I mean, it's competition. Major League Baseball. I love baseball. I grew up playing baseball. I showed a video of me playing baseball just a couple of back in 1980. I'm going to see if I can show it here. I was in the state of Minnesota Little League World Series District 1 tournament. I'm not going to be able to find it. I love baseball. I used to watch baseball. It was my favorite sport with college. Here it is. Let me show you guys. There's the Robbinsdale Yankees. There it is. I'm right shortstop. I missed that one. I'm number 19, black hair. I just caught that pop-up. This was the first round of the 1980 Minnesota Little League World Series. There's Dean Jones. There I am, shortstop. This is 1980. Look at the cars in the background. There's me at the... I made that play and I pulled the first baseman off. That was an error for Greg Flugar. This was my tie-in. I got it was the bottom of the sixth. We were down by a run. Bases loaded. Let me show you guys this. Hold on. I'm up to plate. Bases loaded, no outs. I just got to hit the ball. I hit a weak ground ball. Ran it out. Tied the game up. Throwing my fist in the air. And then we won the next batter. We won the game. Big celebration. The point is, I love baseball. But you cannot have the pay scale. No, that was my Robbinsdale Yankees baseball team. We went to the Minnesota State playoffs in 1978 when I was 10 years old, 1980 when I was 12 years old. In 1978, we lost the state championship 2-1. It was 2-0 in the bottom of the sixth. Neil Walker was coming up to the plate with one out. We had nobody on. We were down 2-0. The next guy up was John Garbett, who hit so many home runs for us. He actually ended up playing in the minor leagues in Major League Baseball. His father played in the minor leagues. So all we needed was Neil Walker to get on first, to get a hit, and then John Garbett, we thought maybe he would hit a home run to tie the game. Neil Walker hit the ball back to the pitcher. It bounced off his knee. Every human, every 12-year-old kid would have beaten out for everybody would have gotten a base hit on that play, except for Neil Walker. He was the slowest 12-year-old kid in the history of baseball. He was thrown out by a half a step. John Garbett came up next and he hit a home run. We lost 2-1. That was 1978. In 1980, the film that you just saw, that was the first round game. I pitched the second round. We won that game. We won the third round. We went to the Minnesota State Championship game. Robbinsdale Yankees. We played East Tonka, which is part of Minnetonka, and we lost 13-0. That was the day that I truly believe that I was first elected the mayor of Loserville City. 13-0. We got absolutely whooped. So that's my story. That is my story. Illini Ted, baseball will redefine itself even more in the future. They are still facing too much traditionalist backlash, similar to Notre Dame in the present. Yeah. It's been downhill. It was a weak ground ball. Shortstop couldn't make the play. I had no power whatsoever. I was a good fielder. I could get the bat on the ball, but I couldn't hit. No power whatsoever. And I had that. Who was the third baseman for the Phillies? Schmidt. What was his first name? The third baseman for the Philadelphia Phillies during the 1980s. What was his name again? I can't remember. Mike Schmidt? Mike Schmidt. Okay. I had Mike Schmidt's batting stance. That aggressively extreme, close stance where the left foot and the right foot is weighing back. That was terrible. I couldn't hit with that baseball stance. You can't swing the bat. But I thought I was going to be Dave Schmidt or Mike Schmidt, whatever his name is. I can't remember his name. That ruined my baseball career, having Mike Schmidt's batting stance. All right. Damn, Greg, you're old. Yeah, I am. That was a lot of fun. Baseball died in September 26, 2024 in East Oakland for me. I tell you, growing up in Minnesota, of course, us little boys, we were Twin fans, but I was an Oakland A's fan. I remember just learning to be able to read the newspaper as a toddler. And they would give me the sports, and I would look at the baseball standings. In the newspapers, us old guys, when we were young, this is how we got our sports news. We would read the sports newspaper, and we look at the baseball standings. And of course, Oakland, 1972, 1973, 1974. World Series champions. 1975, the Cincinnati Reds, World Series champions. And the Oakland A's athletic uniforms were beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. But anyway, that was back in the day. Back in the day. All right, guys, I think that's it. This was an emergency live show. We were on the air for an hour and 15 minutes. I appreciate everybody joining us. Thank you, John Teal and Evil Badger, the other Gygax and Kayla Ramirez for your donations to help us keep the lights on. I very much appreciate it. I appreciate you all joining us. I really do. This was a live, emergency live show. We had to cover Sacramento State Hornets successfully getting to the MAC, climbing over the wall, FCS to the FBS. And again, tomorrow, I love ya, tomorrow might be a kind of a controversial show. I think some of you are going to get kind of mad at me, but that's the way it goes. This is the most unpopular college national football YouTube channel in the country for a reason, and it's not just my singing. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, from all of us to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family, Golden Gophers.